Hello, Natalie. I'd like to welcome you to this little interview that we have scheduled for today, in which uh, me, as a representative of our foundation and the Fifth Province blog, would like to talk to you about your art, um, your life, what color means to you. And I think one of the perhaps the best ways to describe this, or if we want to give this presentation a title, the motto could be I am obsessed with color. But first, let me introduce you to give it a kind of, official framework. So Natalie Forrester, an Irish visual artist based in rural Hungary, Sóstóhegy, Nyíregyháza. As a color art theorist, she sees the world through color, acutely aware of the impact colors have on our emotions, moods, and health. As an abstract expressionist artist, Natalie processes emotions through her art, using some colors to soothe, others to energize. She has recently embarked on an ambitious project, creating one color-led artwork per page of James Joyce's book Ulysses. The edition she is drawing inspiration from is actually the Penguin edition, which is accessible to everyone, which has actually 933 pages, 933. And she estimates it will take at least 2 decades to complete. So quite a project.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Thank you so much for inviting me on here today, Krisztina. I'm very excited to speak to you and to tell you a bit about my life here in Hungary and my obsession with color and indeed that huge project which I have ambitiously, yes, decided to embark upon. So
good for you. Good for you. Okay, let's plunge into the questions then. You have you could say a dual identity, two personalities. And so you have two very nice web pages. To begin with, we'll be looking at the artistic side of yours. Artistic side of you. And you have a very nice web page that provides a lot of information on on your work and how you began. And there you mentioned that your earliest memory of art is actually a badger you had drawn for homework as a child. And then my question is, did you continue drawing as you were growing up, or did you stop, or did it have any relevance? What kind of recollections do you have from that time?
okay, so I love this question, and it makes me think, my goodness, I should actually make this more clear. So I never stopped drawing. I was the arty kid in school. I was like the one who, if a stranger would come into the class, a different teacher would come into a class, and we need a volunteer. Everyone would say, Natalie, I think we did a project for the EU. We had to when I was 12 years old. It must have been around 1990 or 1992. And the teacher, we went into a new classroom, a new teacher, and she said, we need a volunteer to do an art project. And we had to design a recycling factory in 2020. And I remember everyone just said, Natalie. So it was like this volunteer. And by the way, my recycling factory was indeed designed with a water turbine. I think that was it was going to and then when 2020 came, I was like, why isn't the world the way we thought it would be? But in 1990, what happened? Anyway, so yes, badgers. I used to also make cards, greeting cards, happy birthday cards for all my friends. I would collect, recycling was a big part of my life. I would collect like empty egg cartons. I would keep Smarties and varnish them with nail polish. And like some of my friends still have the cards up on their wall that I made for them. I remember I drew some fish underwater. And my brother, like a typical older brother, is like, "You didn't do that." I was like, "Yeah, I did." It's like, "No, he said, your older sister did it, Karen did it." I was like, "No, I did it." And we got into a big argument. So that's when I started to kind of, he's 2 years older, it's totally normal. This is the kind of like, all these kind of, all these things started to kind of build my confidence. Okay, this is me. This is who I am. Other people are telling me that I'm good at this. So it's not just in my head. I really enjoy it. I wasn't good at maths. I loved English, but I wasn't good at spelling. But I loved the literature. I loved the poetry. I just dive into poetry. Um, and I actually asked my mom, could I stay back a year when I was in primary school when I was 6, because I was so self-conscious about being so bad at maths and so bad at other subjects. So why I'm telling you that, I suppose, if there's other people out there that they have such a strength in one area of their life, that's okay.
Exactly. I
So,
agree. I agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Okay.
I'll just tell you a little bit more about that actually going into my teenage years, with the whole recycling thing as well. My parents let me draw on my walls, which was really cool. So like I would like be on the phone to my friends, and I was allowed 15 minutes. That's all we were allowed on the like landline at the time. And I would draw the abstract art on my wall for every 15 minutes, and kind of like it was really important to me to kind of put the date there and stuff. It's been since painted over. Also, I not on purpose. My mom needed the room. Like when we all moved out, all the rooms were changed. It's like, hi kids. But no, and then I also did for recycling. Like so, there was competitions in school, and one of them was a recycle fashion show, and I recycled and sewed 600 tea bags together to make a dress. So every tea bag, because we love tea in our house, and my friends helped me collect them, and I dry them on the radiators and sew them together and made a huge dress with the train. And like I would win competitions, any that I would enter, I would win. But I'm not very competitive, so I never really continued looking for. I never look for competitions. Like if there's one in school, I would just do it, So
You just enjoyed what you did.
exactly. Yeah. I was like, oh, opportunity to be creative and do something completely different and off the wall and what nobody else has thought about. Let's do it. So
Fantastic.
that was
So then
yeah.
it was quite evident that the way your life continued was to be to the National College of Art and Design in Dublin, right?
That's
Where
it.
you received an honors degree in design. What made you decide for design rather than art? Was this in any way a dilemma for you, or did you know exactly what you wanted?
Okay. So this is a great question. It was very difficult for me to make that decision. I remember our notebooks in school, and one of the art teachers, so one of the art students said, "Well, Natalie's like her notebooks, a visual diary in art class." Like, "Oh, well, hers is like that, but Donna's is like this." And she said, "Well, that's because Natalie will probably go into fine art, where Donna will probably go into design, and because I'm kind of, it's just a different style." And I remember that, like thinking about that when I was in art college, because the first year is core year, you do everything. You do textile design, fashion design, you do sculpture if you want, glass work, fine art, painting, everything. And then I decided to go into textile design. But also it was textile art. So like many people for their final project did textile art. So that was kind of okay, we can do that. And I love the fabric can be um formed into 3D. That's what I really enjoy about textiles, is that it can it can really be molded into different shapes and different sizes. And hey, you never know. Like, as I carefully say, I'm going to create one artwork per page. We never know which way the artwork will be, what the end result will be. Let's just put it that way. So, got a few
Exactly.
ideas. It won't
Wow.
all be paint on canvas. Let's just put it that way. Yes.
Uh-huh. Wow. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so to answer your question, sorry, I did not. It was a very hard decision for me. I was just delighted I got into NCAD. I worked really hard to get in because it's extremely difficult to get in, especially straight from school. I felt so at home there. I just knew that anything that any qualification that this school could give me was right for me because I felt like I had eventually got to my proper home, as
Hmm.
in education wise. And yes, I went into design because I thought, yeah, I need to get it. I should get a proper job.
Yeah, you have to make a living, right?
To make a living, it's a good idea, I think. Yeah, that was the reason
Okay.
behind
So you went into design in order to get into, get be able to earn money and so on, a career, profession in the, general sense. Um, when did this take place and whereabouts did you work? Because you seem to have then in the next years, following your graduation from the college, you went to a lot of places and you established your name uh, in this field. Can you mention any design work that had a decisive influence in your life, or where that took place?
it. Absolutely. So I let me see. Pretty much straight away after graduation, I traveled around the world, and then I got a job in New York working for Tom Cody Design. And see, that was so basically Tom Cody Design, he sells printed artworks, like artworks for fashion, to high street brands like Macy's, like Tommy Hilfiger were one of our clients. Barbie, amazing. Um, so I mean, like some brands that we would know in Ireland, like Primark, Pennies, Marks and Spencers. So all of these beautiful floral designs, everything that you see is designed by an artist in London or New York most of the time, and it's sold off, and then they can reproduce it whatever way they want. They buy it for a very small amount of money.
Yeah.
So that was the industry that I was in, and I used to travel a lot. And my mom would meet me in Paris because, in America they have notoriously very bad holidays, like vacation days. So it's like, Mom, meet me in Paris. And, I've got a few hours. So it was very intense and it was wonderful, and a lot of travel, a lot of fun. Lake Como, LA, we used to just be going around these fabric designs a lot, all over the place constantly. And it was absolutely amazing. And then for me, it wasn't where I wanted to stay in fashion. I found that it was quick. It's the nicest word of putting it. That all this art, this beauty, and this wonderful, beautiful artwork is just kind of yesterday's news after a certain amount of time in some fashion houses. Not ever, like, it's not the classics. So I ended up going to Qatar in the Middle East, and I designed uniforms for a bank there. I already had a bit of history there because I just graduated from NCAD, and within a week I got a freelance job to design scarves for a Saudi Arabian airline. So that was a big eye opener for me because I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew what it was worth, but it
Uh-huh.
was very hard to kind of do that business side of it as a 23, 24-year-old, where you get 1 2 hour class on how to do business, and so that's why I went then to New York. And then when came to Qatar, I did the uniforms. I also worked for Vodafone. I did graphic design for Vodafone, interior design for Vodafone. And I settled on the graphic design, and I used to just travel to different countries and do graphic design. And at that time, it was like work from home, but I work from all different places in the world. So that was pretty cool.
Would you stay for a short length of time, for example, in Qatar, for example,
I
or
was
just days, or would it be weeks maybe?
I was in Qatar for 14 months actually.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah.
So over a
So
year then, yeah.
over a year, yes. But it was a mighty contrast going from New York to Qatar as
I'm
a woman.
sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
It was
yes, especially as a woman. Yeah.
eye opener. An eye opener, and it made me think, okay, well, this is one way the world, like New York is absolutely amazing, it's incredible, but like that song goes like leave before it makes you too hard, isn't that like, this song, Baz Luhrmann song from years ago, I always remember it. But anyway, at Qatar, it was just like, wow, that is a completely different way. And it was a five-star living, like living in really nice hotels, living it like the expat life of, handbags and chauffeurs. And it made me realize, like, I don't really want that life. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I prefer the kind of life that makes me creative. Like the life we had now, we're renovating a mud and straw walled house. For me, that's much more interesting, and it gives me allows me to be a more creative person, to exercise my brain more. Oh God, I hope that doesn't sound bad.
No, it doesn't. Believe me, it doesn't. I fully understand. Yeah, that's another world. And it's either you like it, accept it, or you don't, and you leave. So, yeah,
It's a great, and I understand it, but for who I am, I'm a different person. I like I don't say constant battle. That sounds bad, but constantly challenged to do things differently. Like we have, as I said, a little mud and straw walled house. It's small, right? But a huge garden, because we're gonna have a massive art studio in the back and loads of space to grow our own. And hope one day, hopefully, we might even go off grid with solar panels, all the rest. But the point is that smaller spaces make you more creative. How are we going to make this one little space more multifunctional? Like, just a little word on that, and then I'll move on, because I could go on about this quite a
yeah.
lot. But one of my
Okay, so
favorite, yeah.
mhm, go
No,
on.
just one of my favorite YouTube channels is living big in a tiny house.
Uh-huh.
So you should have a look if you ever get a chance at living big in a tiny house. And that's not as small as our new house, but it's just show you the creativity that can come around by that challenge.
I think I've seen instances of that on Facebook and so on, where they have a really small, tiny thing, and it looks like, it's a paradise itself. Yeah, the way they find space for everything, every little nook and
Yeah,
corner, and so on.
exactly. For me, that's the great way of living, and
Okay,
minimal.
right. And then your life took a turn, right? So from all that traveling, looking at, the being part of height of society and the fashion world, you end up in Hungary, right? Um, and then by ending up in Hungary and in Nyíregyháza, you move from design, well, not necessarily, but away from design per se to your art. Um, why Nyíregyháza? Why not? I mean, maybe Budapest would have been more like, of course, New York on a small scale. But yeah, why Nyíregyháza? Why not Debrecen, Szeged, Pécs, Győr, Sopron, right?
Why so random? Okay, so basically, my husband is from near Italfa, and
Okay.
okay, and we have a small child, so he's 4 years old, and what we realized very soon is, the absolute importance of family and grandmothers. and how important it is also for the child. And Laz and I are so, my husband Laszlo, Laz and I are so independent. We loved our lives pre-child. We love our life with our child too. So we like to go out and have a drink and relax or whatever. And it's great that Granny Noddy is around. It's also really important for him. And he so we bought this little little wood sorry, little cottage 1 kilometer from his mom's house, which we are living in at the moment while we renovate our little cottage. It 1 kilometer away in Shostow-Hedge. Now, I lived in many cities, but I love the countryside. And really relaxing to be in the countryside. And Shostow-Hedge, I don't know if you've been here before, is a burst with color. The people here love their gardens. And I think it was an initiative in the early 90s that everyone had to plant a fruit tree outside of their garden. So there's like cherry trees everywhere. There's I think we saw nectar. No, it wasn't peach trees. I mean, it's like kind of it's living in a Disney world. Sometimes, it's just incredible. Every month there's new flowers coming out in the summer, and it's really relaxing. We live down the road from, excuse my pronunciation, Shostow George Fordu.
Good.
There are 2 lakes.
Good.
And there's the O sounds are so hard. And we have like water park, playgrounds, thermal spa. It's just amazing. It's beautiful, and it's a very wonderful, safe, touchwood place to raise a child. So Laz and I would be quite nomadic. That's our kind of common denominator, because he's really good at maths and I'm not. So he's incredibly creative. But we would probably be world nomads if we didn't have a child right now. So in a good way, it's made us stay put for at least formal education years, 15,
That's
20 years.
good. That's really good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we did actually only move here in 2021. And that was for a different reason. We needed a second opinion on my symptoms, which we didn't know at the time was early onset of perimenopause. So I'm just turned 40. And that means that I was probably began my perimenopause probably early 30s. And so we just managed to have our child without even knowing. I was like, it was one of our last chances to have it, to conceive naturally. So, yes. But we didn't know. I have them real quick. But that's the same as if you hear like women having surprise babies at 48. But for me, it was 36. So, yeah, we didn't know until we came here and got it confirmed. So it's okay though. It's part of my life. It's part of why we live in the countryside. It's calm, the air is fresh, the extracurricular activities normally are cycling, or what we do after work day is really relaxing, and it's wonderful life.
Wonderful.
Now let's look at your other side, let's say your other personality, yoga.
So basically spirituality, but
art is there for you.
How does the two fit into your life?
Yes.
How do you combine this with your family life?
Yes. So I love the balance. So anything that makes me sit still for too long or not move, like art, well, art is great because I'm always walking around, but I am very conscious of my health from a young age, and I started yoga over 10 years ago. And it just made such a massive difference in my life. And now I'm a yoga teacher, qualified yoga teacher. We do yoga retreats in Croatia, focused on women's health and speaking about menopause. And one of the things that I do teach at the yoga retreats is do something like coloring. If you don't want to do art, do coloring, do something to take your mind off things, get away from screens, and do something that will just take your brain away. Put on nice, relaxing music. So they fit together much more than one would think, because for me, art is a moving meditation, yoga is a moving meditation. These two things are really important for me to keep my anxiety at bay, to help me sleep better, all these perimenopause symptoms or symptoms of life in general, and stress. So it's both sexes can suffer from these things. It's like a lot of perimenopausal symptoms are very similar to stress. So we have like anxiety, sleeplessness, it's like paranoia, like tension, stress being held in the body, the cortisol highs, like all these things, they reduce with more me time, with more time making the body relax, and stretching and connecting movement with breath, which is yoga. So they connect seamlessly in my world, just two different websites. That's how I see it. So I teach yoga on a Monday morning on Zoom. And then I'm going to start teaching yoga in my child's avoda, but for the parents. Lazo was just helping me translate a poster there that we're going to be doing. But so to answer your question, how I fit all this in is that I have a fantastic support system, and a big part of that is my husband. So today's Farsang, which is Hungarian, as you know what Farsang is, but for people who might know, it's like the opposite of Halloween. The kids are welcoming spring. And my husband just made a mouse outfit from scratch because my child decided he wanted to be a mouse, right? His mother cooked homemade donuts to bring in. So I'm not doing any of these typically stereotypical woman, like wife things. All right, my husband does the washing. I'm not allowed to do because I don't hang it up nicely, seemingly, because I just don't have time for it. I'm just like, it's fine. He does all the cooking. He just took food out of the freezer there. Actually, some of the pig that we got at the weekend, some of the pork. And he's gonna make like Hungarian bangers and mash tonight. Mash and so he does all of these things and helps me with the marketing, helps me with it, makes my canvases for my artwork. Just a serious amount of stuff behind the scenes.
Okay, so Natalie, we talked about your obsession with color, giving this interview the motto, right? I am obsessed with color. Do you think, which may be taken as a motto of your life, do you think it has kind of come full circle in your life, color, and has it complemented your art and spirituality? So that in a way, color is both art and spirituality and art are one, and that one is you. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? Yeah.
Very nicely said. Yes. I think I know one of the reasons why I have always traveled a lot was sunshine, but because of what the sunshine does to living things like color, like how you can hold two flowers in the air, one in a country that doesn't have much sunshine and one where there is lots of beautiful sunshine, and the vibrancy of that flower will be reflected differently in each. And here, like I said in Shostra Hedge, that it is so incredibly colorful that the sunshine has a massive impact on that, and also on one's mood. But I actually think that one of the reasons why sunshine has such a good what's the word? Oh, sorry. Impact on my mood is because it brings all this joyous color everywhere. So I don't get that same wonderful mood, uplifting sense of wait up. Sorry. So if I'm in a city, I don't necessarily get that uplifting, joyful mood when the sun comes out. I have to be in nature. Like, so if I'm in a forest, that beautiful green color, all the green is very calming for me. It's relaxing. And it's actually because green has short wavelengths, so it comes to your eyes much quicker. Purple is the color of creativity, so that makes me think like I wander off and kind of, oh well, what can I do with that? Yellow is uplifting, while blue, like people say, oh, I'm so calm when I'm near the sea. Okay, but what sea are you speaking about? Like, is it the grey Irish Sea in the middle of December? Yes, it can be quite calming, don't get me wrong. But if you're looking at the blue Adriatic Sea, just like it turn that color to black and white for in your own mind's eye next time you're in the Med or the Adriatic or at Lake Balaton even, and ask yourself, would I be feeling the same thing if this was the gray water I was looking at right now? It's the blue that helps with the calming sensation. It helps to calm. Blue actually has been proven to lower blood pressure. So all these colors are more vibrant because of the sunshine. And I have always traveled out of complete curiosity, and I need to be constantly entertained in different ways and stimulated in different ways, but also because of the sunshine. And that's one of the many reasons why I was like, right, that's it, I'm not leaving, because there's wonderful sunshine here.
Absolutely right. I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. So I mean, the colors of nature basically inspire you. So these colors then also inspire you as well in your art.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And with the abstract art, I don't like, one can paint a beautiful flower and it's a flower, but I like to paint on the abstract because I like people to be creative, to be challenged, because it's good. It makes their brain switch off. If you see a picture of a flower, you're like, oh, that's a lovely flower. Wow, it's lovely technique. If you see something that could be a flower, looks like a flower, it gets your brain working a different way. It's going to give your brain your eyes some screen time rest. I used to get terrible headaches from screen time. And I know a lot of people do, especially during the last few years. So it's really nice to have abstract art to stare at, to give your eyes a break from your work, from your screen. And actually, the first time I remember abstraction as a child, we had this wallpaper. I had this wallpaper. I used to lie in my bed and look at the wallpaper, and it was a repeat pattern of flowers on vines. And I used to see different shapes and make up different stories about this bunny and that bunny. And that's where I must have been around 8 years old when I first kind of fell in love with the idea of abstract art without even realizing what was happening. It was a few years ago, we lived in Dunshaughlin, and we had different wallpaper that was actually a bunny and a toadstool. I was like, that's a bunny and a toadstool. But I preferred the abstract wallpaper because it made me use my head more, and I could sit and make up stories on my own for much longer.
Exactly. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. And what about the present? What yeah, basically I would be asking you, what are your present projects? But we've already mentioned, or you mentioned that it's basically James Joyce.
Yes.
Why James Joyce?
That's a good question. Actually, I've just started writing all the reasons why. Okay, so why James Joyce? Okay, so James Joyce was born exactly 100 years before me, because he was 40. He was 140 when I was 40. No, wait now, I got this wrong. He was born in 19. This is where numbers confuse me. I hope you can cut this out. He was born in 1882. I was born in 1992. He published Ulysses when he was 40. I announced when I was 40. His grandmother, my grandmother is called Lucia, because my father's half Italian. His daughter is called Lucia. His so weird, so many weird parallels. His son was Giorgio was born on my father's birthday. Now these are only these weird little family connections, but as we know, James Joyce started writing Ulysses in Trieste, which was part of the which was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the time. And as an expat, I find that a connection with home, that even if he didn't want to, like, it didn't suit him to live at home in Ireland at the time, that he found this, like, these things, like, oh my goodness, that just remind me of home so much, like the color of the snot green Irish Sea. Like his obsession with speaking about tea right now. I'm on page 12, 13, 14, 15 at the moment. And he is just talking about tea nonstop, and that there's no milk. Oh, just put a lemon in it. Oh, the Parisian fad. And I'm like here wetting myself because I'm like, that's how I feel. I'm like, I'm gonna put lemon in my tea. Like, so all these things I make is so Irish. This tea obsession. He just talk about color an awful lot. And I thought to myself, okay, it's an notoriously difficult book to read. Why speed through it just to say I read it when it's going it's in one ear and out the other? Let's read out every page. And while I was reading each page over and over, because I was like, no, I really want to get this, I was like, wow, the colors just kept popping off the page to me. I was like, I wonder if James Joyce actually on purposefully put Buck Mulligan in that yellow dressing gown on purpose on the first page. The very first color that's mentioned is yellow. The yellow dressing gown. Why? Does he know that it's a color for optimism, but also a color in color psychology for warning? Maybe warning, like, this is one hell of a book you're about to read.
Warning as well. I didn't know that. Because I know that yellow is a color for optimism, for happiness, and so. But warning, okay, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of warning would you see in that?
There you go. So if you look at road signs, they tend to be yellow. Like kind of warning signs. Even some sirens in some countries would be yellow. So, well, it could have been him just being playful, like, oh, like, warning, this is going to be one hell of a book, good luck. Or warning, there's like some stuff in here that is going to, get to women in New York who try to publish it in the literature, like, find, like, or people are going to be talking about this for centuries to come.
Yeah.
From what I don't know as much because I am still learning about James Joyce, but from what I can tell, he was, I think these days they call it a disruptor. That he was a disruptor.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's not fantastic.
Yeah, and perhaps when you talk about this warning, it just occurred to me, this warning could have been, watch out, reader, what you're about to embark on may blow your mind.
Okay, so that's why I'm a person of pictures and not words, because what you just said was what I was trying to say, but I used 500 words instead of 20 or 10. Exactly what I was trying to say. Yes, absolutely. So I think I'm on page, what have I just done? Oh, it was lovely, actually. You talked about milk constantly. I'm like, I can't leave the page blank. But the beauty of this is people can guess or they don't have to guess. So I think page 4, like, my husband came and said, oh, that's a really nice one. I really like that. It's my new favorite one. I was like, great. That's the character's mother's last hocking up of bile before she died. And it's like, oh, Natalie, oh my God. Like, he was like, now I don't like it anymore. So, I'm not going to put the description on each page. Let people go and have a look. I might actually put the text. I think I can, for copyright reasons, I can. But also, I would love to try to start a read-along group where people look at the art and they read the page and they try and figure out, well, what did Natalie mean by that? Where is that red color coming from? You know, so that would be a great thing to do. I'm not sure how I could start it. I would need help with that because I don't know. But like a universal global, like, okay, I've never read Ulysses. It's one of my bucket list. Like, let's have a go, you know? So I'm up to page 15 now. I will have episode 1 done by Bloomsday this year.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
It was difficult to start, I have to admit. So I hope I'll fly through the episodes after this. But it was oh my God, what did he mean by this? Am I supposed to bring in like all the other stuff that he means? Oh no, that art, my English teacher, well, he wouldn't, but other English teachers, are they going to know? She doesn't have a clue what she's doing. She doesn't know the true meaning behind this. She hasn't drawn the parallels. And then I just said, I'm letting that all go. And I'm going to do my own project, colors inspired by Ulysses. If other people see other things, then that's even better because it means that it was even more clever how it was written. But at the same time, I still do a little bit of research, a lot actually.
I think it will be quite an adventurous and a very inspiring project. I think, yeah, and I think as you will advance in your reading and everything, I think you will, yeah. I think it's something like an adventure that you embark on. That's what I feel it to be.
It's a personal adventure,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, it's quite difficult when you're an expat. If I concentrate, I have a painting called Cycling in Hedge because I love cycling and I'm always rubbernecking, looking into people's gardens and all this, what they're growing, like butternut squash and tomatoes, and oh my God, look at the colors. But then, you know, you kind of get people saying, don't forget your roots, you know, and then, but if you only do Irish stuff, like Irish art, then people will say, oh, are you not happy and hungry? You know, so Ulysses is a perfect connection for both. And the fact that Bloom, Virag, you know, is Sambat Hay, there's just so many connections. I would like to also make Virag Day, the Virag Nave Napot, like a secondary Blooms Day as such, if like for another exhibition. So that's something that I have planned in the future, but I have 20 years to figure out how to do all.
I wish you the best of luck. Really, this is a fantastic idea. And yeah, you've got our support. So we'll see how you advance and everything. So I wish you the best of luck for your project, your work, your art, your yoga, and everything. And maybe in the future we can get back to talking again and see how you have advanced since from the now. Okay, thank you very much, Natalie. And it was nice seeing you and talking to you.
Thank you very much, Krisztina, for this opportunity. And I really enjoyed talking about my art, and I'd love to come back another time and speak to you more about it. Köszönöm szépen, Gurmagat. Thank you.
Thank you.